إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل كما جاء في محكم التنزيل يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Brothers and sisters, we are here praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we came here to do. We're responding to the call of our Lord who has asked us to come soak up some of the revelation. He knows that through our week, we will find ourselves caught up in the materialistic world and the selfish worldly pursuits. And He's calling us to be reminded exactly who we are and what our revelation is about and what we must do to live out the legacy of prophetic truth. So we praise Him for that and we seek His guidance and we seek His forgiveness as we slip up on the path of guidance. I bear witness that there is no deity and nothing that should be worshipped except for God alone. And I bear witness that Muhammad, the son of Abdullah, was His final prophet and messenger that He sent to all of mankind, that He would confirm and conclude the Abrahamic covenant. So we are here blessed as a family of believers. People have come all over the world to this room today. Just take a look around. Take a look around. Go ahead. Look. Look at all of the different people. Shades, colors, ages, gender. Everybody here is a human family in the faith of the prophethood. It is a very special thing that has brought us together. And so I want to talk today about the nature of the land that we have chosen to live in, America. And every country has the good and the bad and the ugly. No matter what country you go to on this earth, you will find good things, enriching things, valuable, beneficial things institutionalized in individuals and in the society. You will also see some bad things that cause some problems. And there is conflict of interest and injustices. And then you'll see ugly things that are just, how could it be? Unconscionable. You see? And so that is the same with our country here. So I want to start by reminding us the difference between nationalism and patriotism. Nationalism is a filthy, unjust system of ideological attachment to a land and unconditional bias towards one country against the others. And that is absolutely prohibited in our religion. We don't associate or identify with a country because it's that country. And then therefore we support everything everybody does and blindly follow everyone there, seeking assimilation. No, that is all a disgrace to the revelation that we have been blessed with. Patriotism is to live in a land and to become attached to it and love for it what is best for it and work to make it the best it could possibly be. Because that's where your family is. That's where you raise your family. That's where you establish your religion. So you are looking to make it to be the best place that it could possibly be. That is very much the Islamic model. And the Prophet ﷺ, is very important to look at this. When he left, after he went out of the cave, after miraculously he was preserved from this dead or alive, bring Muhammad to me and I'll give you 100 camels. When he went on his migration to Medina, and he went to Jabal al-Thawr, the cave on the southeast side of Mecca, looking to escape, and they came right by him. So when he walked out, and then he knew he was going to leave, and he knew he had to leave, he turned to Mecca. He said, مَا أَطْيَبَكِ مِنْ بَلَدٍ وَأَحَبَّكِ إِلَيَّ وَلَوْلَا أَنَّ قَوْمِي أَخْرَجُونِي مِنْكِ مَا سَكَنْتُ غَيْرَكِ. The Prophet ﷺ, he then turned to Mecca and he said, there is no better of a land to live than you. And no better, more beloved land to me than you. And if my people, pay close attention, if my people did not remove me from you, Mecca, then I would not have left. I would have only lived in Mecca. Now when he said that, it wasn't the bastion of Islam and piety. It was the stronghold of polytheism. That's very important to notice what language the Prophet ﷺ used in this authentic hadith. To refer to a land that was much more corrupt than the land we are living in today by far, in terms of values and character and standardized social norms. That land that he said he loved was because he was born and raised there. Because he has this familiar attachment to it. But that did not mean that he would sacrifice any of his beliefs to be part of it. So it's important to understand. Now when the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, he said, Allahumma habbib ilayna al-madinata ka-hubbina makkata aw ashad. He said, oh Allah, make Medina, this place we have decided to live in. We have migrated here. And the majority of its constituents, when he said that, are actually Jewish and polytheist. When he said that. Make Medina more beloved to me than Mecca. He asked Allah. Authentic hadith. When he first came to Medina. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to love the land that you choose to live in and make it the best place and the place that is desirable to you. So it is crucial for us to properly understand our connection to the land that we live in and us raising our children in that land. So this country was built on some very good things. The Declaration of Independence was people who'd been living here under the oppression of the British Anglican. It was a church-ruled British kingdom, colony, and the oppression kept showing itself over and over. They were not given rights. They were not treated fair. They were taxed unjustly. So they made a Declaration of Independence which led to a war. And they said, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, rights that must be guaranteed. Among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the people that they govern. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish said government. You see, they were talking in terms of God, the Creator, who gave us rights. And that is why we will not stand for this. So they were very much seeing things like we see things. As Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when he took his position after he was nominated and then elected as the leader of the Muslims, the religious and political authority intertwined. He said, فَإِذَا, when his inaugural address, he's talking to thousands of people. فَإِذَا رَأَيْتُمُونِي عَلَى حَقٍّ فَأَعِينُونِي. If you guys see me following the truth, support me. In another narration he said, فَإِنْ أَحْسَنْتُ فَاتَّبِعُونِي. If I'm doing good, follow me. وَإِنْ رَأَيْتُمُونِي عَلَى بَاطِلٍ فَسَدِّدُونِي قَوِّمُونِي. If you see me following falsehood, Abu Bakr is talking to whom? The governed, the believers, the Muslim people. If you see me following falsehood, put me in my right place. Abu Bakr is talking Declaration of Independence. This is that same logic in that address that you find in the address that established this country you're sitting in. So then the preamble to the Constitution, they got together and said we need to form some sort of law that will give everybody their rights. So the introduction to the Constitution, the standard and resource reference of all laws in this country. We, the people of the United States, meaning what? This country is for the people. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our future, and to ordain this land we will call the United States of America. That's how the Constitution began. And I'm not going to exhaust you, which I could very easily, do the rest of my whole khutbah on ayahs that will testify to what they were saying in starting this Constitution is 100% Islamic. It is, when I say Islamic, not it's acceptable to Islam. No, it is promoted by Islam, these ideas and this attitude and thought process. And I'm telling you, you can go around and read the constitutions of the world. Either they mimicked and mirrored this one here, or they are not in line with our religion. You are sitting in the best place to be Muslim, live Islam, and to promote good and justice in the world. That's something, when you travel the world, you will learn this fact. And it is crucial for us to take advantage of this fact. If we silo ourselves and we don't engage and integrate, assimilate means become like everybody else. That is not what we're looking for. We are on a shahada. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. We're looking to mirror that in who we are. But we are looking to integrate with that declaration of faith. Meaning, we become one among our people, as the Prophet ﷺ, as Hud and Saleh and Nuh said, Qawmi, ya Qawmi, my people. Meaning, my fellow countrymen, you are my people. Islamic directive tells you that you are one among the people. That's Islamic identity, not separatist, not superior seeking to subjugate, but one among the people, offering knowledge of divine truth to them and living it to the best of your ability. And so, in this articles of this Constitution, it delineates the responsibilities of what you call separation of powers and checks and balances. It starts out with a legislative. These people will be elected by all of the citizens, and they will all come together to represent them. That's why it's a republic. This country is actually not a democracy. It is a republic. Jumhuriyah. Democracy sounds like a good word, you know? It's like, oh wow, it's in the people. And then it says executive, president, vice president, White House, cabinet, and then you have the judicial, the top court to interpret the law of the land for the people. Islam, back to my point, the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, radiallahu anhum ajma'in, they were all instituting a very similar system of governance. And it was the first time in world history that said type or such government existed. But if you're to ask most Muslims about this, particularly our young Muslims growing up here, they would say, really? Can't imagine that. I keep hearing that America is like something un-Islamic, from beginning, middle to end. That attitude is cultivating Islamophobia and lending to our weakness worldwide. It is not the right attitude. And it is crucial for us to really take a look at what we're doing here. Not to think, well, that place I can go there and make more money, and my kids can get a good education. Other than that, I don't want to have nothing to do with it. That line of thinking is basically telling Allah, you are offering me a means to be part of making this world a better place, because I'm now in a place that empowers me in my religion by law, and my countries where I come from have have no way to resolve from within. You cannot. Somebody would have to have power from somewhere else to fix that. If we get our act together here, then things will change. And we have to look at it like that. So in the time of Umar and Abu Bakr, they put governors like legislative. And when the people came complaining, this person is doing this, they're not doing this, he would call for witnesses, they would remove that person, and in many cases he would say, who do you think among you? And he would ask the person, can you carry this responsibility? They would meet in Hajj time. All of the governors would meet, and they'd talk collectively. This is just like Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And they would talk about the struggles that they are facing and how, and Umar as the president, as the Khalifa, he would then advise them what he thinks is in the best interest of the people. And in every locality were scholars of Islamic law who had autonomous judicial authority that no governor and no Khalifa can change what they have done. People got confused in Medina, in the time of Umar. And a man comes to Umar, and he is the Khalifa. And Ali is just a judge at that time, and a consultant in the cabinet of the Khalifa. And he had made a judgment, a legal ruling of law. Hukum qada. And the guy came to Umar and says, what do you think about this? He said, I would rule such and such. He said, well, I prefer your rule, Ali has said. And in this authentic athar, going back to Umar, he said, but Ali is a judge. You cannot cancel what he has done. Meaning what? You cannot have two trials for one thing. Sound familiar? Just read the Bill of Rights. Study Islamic law. You will see either one of two things have happened. There's only one of two options looking at this constitution and the Bill of Rights. Either somebody was studying Islam and wanted to take all of the good legal stuff and remove the religious basis for it, or somebody prayed a lot and Allah blessed them with a governance system. It's one of the two. There is no other third way that this constitution comes out, just by the people's ideas. It is too much rooted in the revelation systematically that we know. And that is important to know. For every single Muslim in the world, specifically, I'm going to say fard ayn. So I will make a fatwa here. Fard ayn. Every Muslim born in this land needs to know how Sharia relates to this land, how this land's laws are rooted in our religion. It has to be understood that way and communicated that way. Islamophobia cannot stand after these simple steps of just planning what you're doing when you go to move somewhere. And thinking long term. And the Muslims were like this. Why do you think Indonesia? I'm telling you by certainty, there is no way you have 200 million Muslims in Indonesia. There was never a war fought anywhere near Indonesia. There was never a caliphate anywhere near Indonesia. Muslims strategized about how to go there and ideally communicate this message. And for sure, looking at all the ayahs in the hadith, it had a lot to do with understanding the people, how they think, and how to relate to them ideally. Not, we're right, you're wrong, you're kuffar. Whoever's doing this is going against our best interest. The amendments of this. So a lot of people say things like, in Islam there's no free speech. Of course there is free speech. I was reading the history of the Abbasid Khilafah and Mansur, a great Khalifa, who did many great things. He had a court called Dar al-Hikmah. It was a big, actually circular place of intellectual exchange of knowledge and academic. And in that place, Muslims from different convictions and schools of thought, take it a step further, Christians, Jews, Zoroastrian, atheists would come in there and debate things in front of the Khalifa where Sharia law is ruling. Nobody was like, this atheist has no right to say religion is wrong and he shall take his head off. That's a very new idea. Started in a land, unfortunately, that we are praying for it to be healed and fixed and good leadership brought to it as soon as possible. Because this land has, for a long time now, been permeating ideas that are not in our best interest and brainwashing us in ways through the pilgrimage and through very strong influential means, putting lots of money that they get from oil into an ideology that's being spread to the common people. And you can pick it apart very thoroughly. It's like some sort of cancer. Free speech is in the Quran. Ibrahim and Musa are asking Allah things about himself and how he does what he does. Common religious Muslims say that is kufr. It's in the Quran, man. What do you mean it's kufr? The prophets were saying these things. Show me you. I want to see you. Tell me, how do you revive the dead? Does that sound like some rebellious, Americanized Western way of thinking? This is Abraham and Moses, peace and blessings be upon them, in the Quran. Free speech is a very blessed value of humanity that was given by the Creator and lived out by the prophets. The freedom of religion. قُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. It's Jumu'ah. We should know this stuff. Say the truth from your Lord. Whoever wills, let them believe. Whoever wills, let them disbelieve. Where did I get that? This some new modernized, liberal. That's the Quran. Surah Al-Kahf. We read it every day, every Friday. It is important for us. That's why I said, لَا إِكْرَاهَ فِي الدِّينِ قَدْ تَبَيَّنَ الرُّشْدُ مِنَ الْغَيِّ. If we're carrying the truth, it will be clear. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ. People will have to choose to reject corruption and evil and polytheism. They will have to choose based on knowledge, not based upon because we said so. We said so is not a proof. Nobody wants to follow anything because somebody told me. So this country generally encourages critical thinking, order, organization, putting things together in a professional way, caring for others, generally speaking, timeliness, being on time, being honest and direct, saying what you mean, not playing word games and talking to people behind their back. Innovation, trying to make things better and find better ways to do everything. And work equals success. If you work hard, you will get successful. No matter if you are black, brown, white, young, old, male, female. This is what this country is talking about. All those are very Islamic qualities. Now, that's the good. But the bad and the ugly are unfortunately vast. When the people came from Europe, by the British way of thinking, they wiped out a whole nation of people, the natives of this land. There was a genocide took place. That cannot be understated. Over the last 10 years, the suicide rate of Native American people has gone up 300 and some %. The system that these Europeans made to systematically abuse, marginalize, and institutionalize oppression and corruption in them has led them to where they just don't have anything to live for anymore. There is a huge injustice that this country was formed on that is not properly addressed by the people here. Like right now, this whole immigration debate. Oh, you know what they might do? The natives of this land, who were the original inhabitants of this land, had every reason to say, you Europeans are dangerous people, you stay where you come, we'll have a very strict policy. But they forced their way in. And then when they invited the other white people, it was very easy to get citizenship. Bada boom, bada bing. You come in, you sign the form and all of that, week later, now you have your citizenship. Now, because people are brown color, they are not getting the same treatment. This is injustice. Slavery. They treated people because they had darker skin as though they are less than human. And they're still doing it. You can just simply look at the videotapes of white police officers shooting black people. They don't even have a weapon. They're actually, in many cases, running in the opposite direction. And he shoots them in the back. And you can see this with your eyes. This is happening all the time. If you don't know what it means to say Black Lives Matter, you have to research it. Because the standard of this country is white lives have always mattered very much. But black and brown lives have not mattered. They were treated not important. So there's institutional racism. Nagasaki and Hiroshima. This country decided they will take atomic bombs and wipe out whole entire cities. Women, children, everything. Some of the most foul, ugly deeds of evil ever done were done by this country's government. Militarism. This country endorses a policy of military-industrial complex that is involved all over the world, causing destruction and strife, making trillions on it. Capitalism. If you watch the debates, everybody's trying very hard to defend capitalism. It is the actual problem of all of what they're talking about they need to fix. If you just study laissez-faire capitalism as a concept, as it's been applied specifically for the last 30 years, specifically, you will see the system of that, and as it relates to government influence, is the problem. Does that mean we're calling for some sort of socialism? No. We call for Islam. Does that mean we're asking people to convert? No. We have values that you will appreciate whether you choose to convert or not. That will be in your best interest. Whether you convert or not is your business according to the whole history of Islam and the very clear text of our religion. But they brainwash people that we have a different agenda. Like we're doing like them. The natives almost don't exist anymore in this country. And those that do, most all of them are Christian. 90-some%. They were not Christian before. Muslims ruled India for 7 centuries. There are 1 billion Hindus worshipping idols as they do, to testify that Islam did not call for the eradication or conversion of whole civilizations. That's not an opinion, that's a fact. They can't argue against this. There are 44 million Christian Arabs going to church every day, tracing their lineage before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they live very comfortably in the Muslim world, unless they're being oppressed by other people. Yet the story is we're oppressing them. So, I have more ideas, but we're running out of time. So we'll conclude in the second khutbah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه فإنه هو الغفور الرحيم. The Jewish community has succeeded vastly, intensively succeeded in this country. And I can break down to you the 3 reasons why they have succeeded here. And those 3 reasons, if we do them, we will succeed. Number 1, they did not see that I have somewhere else I'm looking to go back to. They came here and they did not have a homeland. You just know, they came here in the 1800s. There were hundreds of thousands of Jewish people here by 1860s, just so you know. And so they saw, this is my land. And you know what they did? They said, what does this land talk about? So you can guarantee they all understood very well what is in the Constitution and what that means to them as a people and how that means that they relate to the other people. They always understood this. They understood how do you reach a place of dignity and respect in this country according to its system. If you try to exist outside of the system and live in a place, you will be deemed as an outsider and a foreigner, and you will be easily targeted. Their own dignity and pride. They taught their kids that we are God's chosen people. We are a great people that have great abilities. They were not inferiority complex. They were not the victim mentality. They were believing that they can do things. And they were doing that as Jews. Not trying to slide under the radar and just do it as people and hopefully people won't find out that we're Jew. Even the ones that weren't very religious always knew they needed to own their identity. And trust me, the land was not welcoming to them. Historically, Christians say Jesus was killed by Jews. Okay? That's why the Crusades was to wipe out Jews and Muslims equally. That's their history. It's not like they were always welcomed. You're thinking that it was always the way it is. They worked very hard to get where they're at. Against lots of oppression and abuse and humiliation. We have to have that same mindset and better. وَلَا تَهِنُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ أَنْتُمُ الْأَعْلَوْنَ إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. Do not be humiliated. Do not be saddened or weakened by your state of weakness and the oppression you're facing. Know that you have the upper hand as long as you are believers. And so we are called to establish this truth and to shine this light of this message. تلك الدار الآخرة نجعلها للذين لا يريدون علوا في الأرض ولا فسادا والعاقبة للمتقين. We are not looking according to the Quran for worldly power or to cause harm or corruption on anyone. Allah says this place in the hereafter is made for those that are not seeking power and greatness in the land for the sake of power and greatness and wealth, thus causing oppression and corruption. Know that all al-aqibah, all good ends go to those who are pious. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. For us, our place in this world will only become elevated if we are seeking the hereafter as believers connected by that bond. And when we do that, that will not mean harm or problems for other people. It will actually mean uplift. Rahmatan lil alameen. Adlan min al muqsitin. Alladhina yuhibbuhumullah. So we are here to establish compassion and mercy and justice and truth and honesty and all of the current problems that this country has internally and externally. Our religion addresses it. And the more people I meet that I talk to about this are greatly impressed and completely, we say, flabbergasted. Because they've been told a story after 9/11 that is an absolute brainwashing of flip-flopping the reality. We have to own our narrative with dignity, with our heads high, knowing that this land has been created by Allah. And the system here is empowering our message to do good for the world. And we are on a mission to live that out and to do that. That's what we're doing here at MCC. That's what we're trying to achieve with this center. It takes investment. It takes sacrifice. It takes hard work. It takes focus. But guess what? At the end, you will enter the gates and see the shining light above you and feel the relief of all sadness and pain and difficulty and hardship, because you will have earned urithumuha. You will have inherited this place by rightful inheritance, by following the prophets. Ya Allah, we ask you to make us a prophetic people. Ya Allah, we ask you to make us a people who follow the truth that you have revealed to your prophets. Ya Allah, give us the means to succeed as a community through your message. Ya Allah, help us to understand how to integrate in this community. Make our lives easy on us, make our sacrifice easy on us, help us to grow and establish your message and the beauty of your prophetic legacy in Charlotte, North Carolina. Relieve our hearts of weakness, relieve our hearts of a humiliated sense of victimhood. Emphasize in us the greatness and dignity of the truth that you have given us in this message. Help us to see the prophetic truth as it was learned by the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and as they became the greatest nation on earth. Ya Allah, make us a people that are of faith, who promote and enjoin all that is good, who stand against and rebuke all that is evil, and who are looking to meet you and seek your pleasure in the hereafter. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.